G'day and welcome back to another Honkai Star Rail video. In this video we're going to take a look at Silver Wolf and whether you should summon for Silver Wolf. So this is Contract 0, the new banner that's come up with patch 1.1 for Honkai Star Rail. Now just a special mention before I begin, one of my favorite 4 stars is on this banner with Asta, so I'm like really honestly super duper keen. I'm probably gonna summon on this banner just because I really like Asta and I like Silver Wolf, so real big incentive there from my side. So before I get into it, just kind of wanted to say that because I think Asta is one of the most useful 4 stars you can get. Now Silver Wolf herself is a very cool unit. She's a Nihility unit, which means she debuffs the enemy, but she has some very interesting mechanics that make her super cool. So the big thing with Silver Wolf is that she has a very cool ability to, well, one, apply various debuffs to the enemy with her standard attacks. This is, you know, simple, basic attack reduction, defense reduction, speed reduction. But she has the really cool ability to create weaknesses, and this makes her very interesting for team building, especially since a lot of the game, at least right now, revolves around single target damage to a larger extent and managing weaknesses. The fact that she can add weaknesses to the opposition is very good, and it means situationally you can honestly change how some stages function. For example, let's say your favorite DPS to run is Sile, but no one, you know, or the stage you want to do doesn't have weakness to Quantum. You can literally just run Silver Wolf and Seal, and you can add that weakness to the opposition. So it's very cool from that perspective, and kind of completely changes the functionality of team building, at least for most players, as a principle. A lot of the times you're adjusting your team to accommodate the weaknesses of the stage. Now you can kind of circumvent that to a certain extent and just run units that are strong and synergistic, because she provides you with that weakness coverage. She also just has some very good abilities. You know, her ability to debuff the opposition is very good. Her ability to kind of reduce their weaknesses, to reduce their resistances, to lower their attack, all of these things are important, and they're all very strong. They're not like, yeah, low abilities. On top of that, she also actually just provides like a whole bunch of really good single target damage on top of that. I think overall it's just very good stuff in general. So yeah, for me, I would say, honestly speaking, I think she looks great, and I really like what she brings to the table. Her traces, her upgrades are pretty good, giving her extended bug duration for her basic attack debuffs, and then also increasing just her weakness that she adds, making it last for another turn. Generally speaking, all her bonuses abilities are really good in terms of just extending the time that she remains able to control the battlefield, which is really good. And then of course also allowing her to further reduce the resistances of enemies. And resistances are very important to the difficulty of Honkai Star Rail. In terms of her Eidolon, she has some pretty good stuff. Energy regeneration with E1 is pretty solid, basically allowing her to, you know, increase her usage or usability rate of her ultimate. She then also has just some really good additional passives, things that reduce enemy resistances. She also has some additional increases to her overall damage, and later on basically her like abilities are catered more towards increasing her single target damage in terms of E4 and E6. So they kind of make her not a predominant damage dealer, but they kind of give her that single target damage increase that allows her to potentially be a very dominant single target damage dealer. Now beyond that, on her banner you have Dan Heng, you have Serval, and you have Asta. Like I said, Asta, probably one of my personal favorites. I think both Serval and Dan Heng are usable, so I do see some value in those 4 stars. Obviously, it's the standard pity system, as we all know and love, so you shouldn't really be too surprised by that, and you should basically give it the best go you can. Beyond there, there is her light cone banner. Now her light cone seems very good. Her light cone, brilliant fixation, essentially, to cut a long story short, allows for some really cool stuff, in that it basically gives her another debuff. So what it does is it allows her to add another debuff to her arsenal from the actual light cone itself, and this will increase her overall debuffs, which increases a lot of the effects of her abilities, the regenerate, the overall damage, etc. So it gives her another debuff to stack, and this is very crucial obviously towards her gameplay, which maximizes her level of ability depending on how many debuffs are on the opposition. Beyond that, the other light cones look interesting. I wouldn't really say any of them are distinctly unique, but I do think Silverwolf is pretty cool. I think the way she changes team building functionally for Honkai Star Rail is probably the most interesting thing for me, in that she makes it so that teams can be a little bit more flexible around her. Obviously then the inflexibility is that you have to consider running her, but I think overall she's a very cool unit. So should you summon? I would say yeah, but I'll see you next time. Bye.